If Arjuna was brought to the battle and the battle starts, we would not have heard the Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes Krishna, he throws his own devotees into Maya. That kind of Maya is a different type of Maya, not like the Maya you and me succumb to. That type of Maya is called Yoga Maya. Krishna, in fact, bewilders himself with this Yoga Maya. In Vrindavan, Krishna makes himself forget that he is the Supreme Lord. Of course, Yoga Maya is under the control of Krishna. So whenever Krishna wants to forget himself as the Supreme Lord, he gets Yoga Maya to cover him. That type of Maya should never be confused with Mahamaya. Okay? That is Krishna's own internal Maya. That Yoga Maya, in the sense, it connects, that Maya connects you with Krishna. Mahamaya is that which separates you from Krishna. It's the two sides of the coin. So we have to understand that. So, Priya, sorry. So this goes on, and then Krishna, just give me. So this goes on, and now Arjuna says, I shall not fight. This is a pretty, think about it. Now the whole army is watching on the other end, and probably Duryodhana becomes very elated. Dushasan, Karna, they say, what kind of coward is this Arjuna? He was famous as the most powerful warrior, and everybody is watching. And imagine the people on Arjuna's side, how depressed, how hopeless they must have become when their most powerful general, the leader of the army, has now become weak. Okay, just imagine the whole battlefield in your mind. Okay, just create the scenario in your mind. It's a very, very pivotal moment. And meanwhile, Krishna is simply watching Arjuna. And then what happens? When does the real solution happen? When does the real solution happen? When did the solution to Arjuna's problem begin? Anybody want to answer? I want to kind of make it a little interactive here. Satyarupa Prabhu?
When proper knowledge given, Prabhu.
The real solution happened, the real solution started. It was not completed, but it started when Arjuna said, I am your disciple. Sishyasteham sadimam prapanna. That point, there was a real transmission of knowledge. Then Krishna was chastising Arjuna. You are speaking like a very learned person. I mean, anybody who reads in the beginning Arjuna's argument will look, wow, Arjuna was such a learned scholar, such a pious person, such a great, compassionate, magnanimous person. But the first thing Krishna says, Arjuna, even though you're speaking like a big Pandit, but actually you are not a Pandit. You are not, you're basically telling you're a fool. Okay, so this was going on. So the real solution starts when we accept the fact that we cannot solve our problems on our own, with no amount of argument, with no amount of debate, with no amount of attempt on our own, we cannot solve our problems. Our problems, tell me who in this world doesn't have a problem? Everybody has a problem. The beggar in the street has a problem. The most wealthiest man in this world have problems. In fact, you often find the beggar's problem is small compared to the problems confronted by a very wealthy man. A beggar's problem maybe only be, I just need some food today. A very wealthy man, his problem may be, how am I going to keep all these people in my company employed? How am I going to pay bills? How am I going to prevent a hostile takeover of my company? So, right, there's so many problems. But the Bhagavad Gita has a solution to everybody's problem. So the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Prabhupada made it very clear that the Bhagavad Gita, he didn't just call it Bhagavad Gita, he called it Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why? Because so many people have interpreted the Bhagavad Gita, written great commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, so-called great commentaries, right? Very thick. But all their commentaries did not solve people's problems. In fact, it often confuses people more, right? So, Prabhupada let us know how to receive the Bhagavad Gita. Now, the Bhagavad Gita starts from the very basic platform that we are not this body. Very simple point. Extremely simple point. But it is the foundational point of the Bhagavad Gita. And in fact, any spiritual matter can never be properly understood when we don't accept that we are, it cannot happen unless we accept that we are not this body. It can only happen when we accept that we are spiritual souls, something completely different than the body. Now, Arjuna's problem started because he started seeing himself as the body, his relatives as very intimately connected with him, to his body, okay? Because the body is meant to be vanquished. No amount of care can perpetuate the existence of the body, right? In fact, when Yamaraj asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, what is the most amazing thing in the Mahabharata? There were 100 questions, right? And one of the very most important questions is, what is the most amazing thing? In this world, there are many amazing things, right? But Yamaraj asked him, what is the most amazing thing in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj answered so appropriately, the most amazing thing is that people are dying around me every day. In fact, this place, every moment there's death. I mean, not even talking about humans, right? When you're walking in your house, you're killing some very tiny bugs. You don't even, when you are breathing, you're also killing many things which enters your body. When you're driving to the temple, you may be going over some bugs. Or when you're driving sometime long distance, you see there's so many bugs on your windshield. Every moment there's death. So therefore, this place is called rightfully Mritya Loka. So, and you hear this person has died, this person has died. Now COVID, we have seen so many people close to us may have died. So still we continue to think somehow this body will go on forever. So that is the most amazing thing. Somehow this will not happen to me. Or sometime this will happen to me, at a time when I'm ready to die. Let me tell you, there's no time you will be ready to die if we have this mentality. Prabhupada gives the example, like wealthy businessman in Calcutta, very wealthy in the last days of his life. he was begging with his doctor, just give me 1 more year. Please try to extend my life 1 more year. I got many things undone. See, he's going to die, but look at his mentality. He wants 1 more year, not to say that, oh, I've neglected Krishna all my life. Give me 1 year more so I can take that 1 year to fix my mind on Krishna, perform some serious devotional service, and attain the purpose of human life. That was not his intent. His intent, just give me 1 more year. I've got so many materialistic business I've not completed, so I can complete it. So even in the deathbed, people are not waking up to this fact. It's a very amazing thing. It is a serious problem, even for devotees. It is. We may be initiated, but we may not be serious. We may be chanting our rounds out of obligation. But that vyavasatmika buddhi may have not happened yet. Krishna says, become vyavasatmika buddhi, become a one-pointed intelligence. Ekehe kurunandana. Only that way we can become truly Krishna conscious. I know we've got so many other things, responsibilities in our lives. Prabhupada doesn't say give up your responsibilities. Just like if you're walking towards a destination, let's say you're walking towards a destination where a tremendous wealth is waiting for you. And you're bringing your family along. Let's say it's a 1 year you have to walk, and you're bringing your family with you. What will you do? Will you just with your clothes and say, let's go? No, what you'll do, you'll prepare for that journey. You'll pack a lot of food, you'll bring some money with you, water, you'll plan your journey in such a way that you can get water, you can get food, you can get a place to stay. All this you have to do, but your real goal is you want to attain that destination. And because you have to attain that destination, you have to do this along the way. So these are all temporarily necessary. So like your family, maintaining your family, we shouldn't become distracted going to a hotel. Oh, this is a real nice hotel. You know, that place is so far away. You know, it's too much trouble. Let's just stay in this hotel now. We got enough money. You know, we got food here. The people are nice here. So these are the type of distraction we get distracted by. Do you all follow the point? And we lose our goal, which is a far greater wealth, insurpassable wealth of devotional service, of pure devotional service of Krishna, where the happiness, the pleasure, the satisfaction you'll get, nothing in this world can even remotely compare. So therefore, Arjuna had all these considerations. He lost track of what is Krishna want. That is the real question we have to ask. Ultimately, Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight. And the purpose of life is to satisfy Krishna. Samsiddhi haritoshanam. When Krishna is satisfied, so Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight on Ekadasi day. Your temple president may tell you, or your Guru Maharaj may tell you, Satyarupa Gauranga Prabhu, today I want you to drive, 300 miles to bring some important thing for me. Then you tell your Guru Maharaj, I haven't chanted my rounds. I got so much service here. At home, I have to do this. I have to do that. I'm just giving Satyarupa Gauranga Prabhu. It could be very well be me. Okay. Oh, it's Ekadasi. I've taken a vow to chant 64 rounds, but your Guru Maharaj is saying, bring this for me. So can you even imagine telling that to your Guru Maharaj, I cannot come today, sorry. So we have to see also that any type of service which pleases Krishna, that should be done. Not what you think your service is. Krishna may want you to do something else than what you want to do for Krishna. You may be a very perfect kirtana, amazing kirtan, but Krishna may not want you to do that kirtan for him. He said, let somebody else do that. I want you to do this. Okay, so the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's service was to fight for Krishna, and that was pleasing to Krishna. Therefore, when Arjuna surrendered to that will of Krishna, everything auspicious happened. They won the battle through so many difficult situations. I don't know if you all have read the Mahabharata, that there were so many things stacked up against the Pandavas, but they won the war because Krishna was on their side, because Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. The Pandavas surrendered to Krishna, therefore they won the battle. Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. All of you know that verse, right? Krishna tells Arjuna, you go and boldly declare that my devotee shall never perish. Very important point. Krishna directly didn't say. Mame bhakta pranashyati. He didn't say Kaunteya, he said Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He didn't say, oh, my devotee will never perish. He didn't say. He said, Arjuna, you go and boldly declare. You all know why Krishna said that. Probably most of you already know that. Why did Krishna tell Arjuna to declare? Why didn't he declare? Anybody wants to answer that?
Krishna wants his devotees to be glorified than Krishna getting glorified more. So
Krishna wants his devotee to be glorified. But somebody may say, Arjuna, I will trust Krishna better than you. You just some warrior, Kshatriya, you're very prone to diplomatic activity. So how am I supposed to trust you? A question may come, right? Why? Because Krishna is much more intent on honoring the word of his devotees' words than his own words. That's the real intent. Krishna will say, my devotee has declared, if my devotee has declared, I have to fulfill this. Also, Krishna said he will not lift a weapon, but he lifted weapon. He lifted the wheel to throw against Bhishma. So somebody may say, look, Krishna said that he's not going to lift a weapon. He went against his own words. So therefore, Krishna said, you go and declare, Arjuna. When my devotee declares, there's no way I will make that a false statement. So the relationship between Krishna and his devotees are so intimate and so tight and so unbreakable. We have to have that kind of faith in the relationship which we're going to build with Krishna. Even though we may not be on that platform, we may be far from the platform, but observing devotees, great devotees, their example, we can develop the faith that, look, this devotee, even so many challenges, they have fixed their mind, fixed their activity, surrendered their mind, body, soul, and their words for Krishna. And Krishna has never forsaken them. Temporarily, we may see a devotee maybe going through challenges, even a pure devotee, from our vision. But we study the life of Srila Prabhupada. There were so many difficulties from our perspective, right? From our perspective, it's just insurmountable, it looked like. But Prabhupada said that those were my most ecstatic days, when Prabhupada was crossing the ocean, struggling to get, some money to travel, getting heart attacks. And Prabhupada said, those were the most ecstatic days in my life. Because when a devotee, pure devotee, when he goes through difficulty, is a type of ecstasy for the pure devotee. When we go through difficulty, we see it as, oh man, when will Krishna relieve this difficulty? But a pure devotee never prays like that. In fact, Kunti Devi, she prayed, always keep me in difficulty. Just like a man working very hard in a foreign country for his family. He may be thousands of miles away. His family may be separated, but he's working very hard for his family. Why is he working very hard? Because he's getting some kind of pleasure in that I am doing this for my loved ones. So similarly, a devotee may physically appear that he's separated from everybody, maybe far away, but his intent is, I'm doing all this 100% for Krishna. And that feeling itself gives a certain type of ecstasy for a devotee. So very important point. So the Bhagavad Gita starts from, you are not this body, don't be attached to the body and anything related to the body, because everything is temporary. Come to a standard of real knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And then Krishna makes another important point in the 4th chapter. He says, he says, because you are my devotee and friend, I'm imparting this very confidential knowledge to you. So we have to become a devotee. Therefore, people who read the Bhagavad Gita who are not devotees, who don't have an inclination to become devotee, who will never understand the message of the Gita, who are envious of Krishna, they will never understand. Because knowledge is ultimately, transcendental knowledge is a function of the heart. When you have favorable feelings towards Krishna, then this knowledge becomes revealed to you. Even those who don't know how to read, this same knowledge becomes revealed to you. There are many people who are illiterate. You all know this famous story when Mahaprabhu went to South India. The Brahmana, he was illiterate. But his feelings for Krishna was so deep and profound because he was a devotee of Krishna. Because he saw Krishna as his protector. He saw Krishna as his topmost well-wisher. So similarly, we have to develop such an attitude. Although, of course, Arjuna was a very intimate devotee, but Arjuna was used by Krishna to teach us many valuable lessons. Then Krishna speaks about karma, Krishna speaks about jnana, Krishna speaks about dhyana, Krishna speaks about regulative principles, Krishna talks about various qualities of a Brahmana. What are the qualities of Kshatriya? Krishna talks about intimately about what is bhakti, what is the nature of bhakti. Krishna tells about what you should do, what you should not do. Krishna speaks about the modes of material nature. Krishna talks about how to cross over the ocean of material existence. Krishna shows his universal form for those who are kind of not convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So we have received this knowledge. As devotees, we have received this knowledge. When you receive something, what is the natural thing to do? Do you keep it to yourself? This is an important question. Many people, when they receive some wealth, they keep it for themselves. No, a devotee should never be like that. What is Mahaprabhu's instruction? Bharata Bhumi Yala Janma Sartaka Kari Para Upakar. So make those who are born in Bharat Bhumi, because in two sense, Bharat Bhumi could mean India. Bharat Bhumi can also mean the whole world. Janma Sartaka Kari, perfect your life and do good for others. How do you do good for others? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita again, how you do good for others. Everything is in the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever we are speaking, Krishna says for those who spread this knowledge, give this knowledge to others, they become very dear to me. So how do you dear? You all want to become dear to Krishna. I want to become dear to Krishna. But Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita how to become dear to him if you give this knowledge to others. So this month is Gita Jayanti. Gita Jayanti is on Tuesday, Mokshada Ekadasi. And this month is the December marathon month. Okay, I'm from Dallas originally, and the December month is an intense month of book distribution. Not only brahmacharis, brahmacharinis, grihastas, everybody go out. Profuse book distribution. 11 months we are very busy with our lives. And then at least 1 month we should take some time to distribute this Bhagavad Gita. Because that's the real wealth you can give people. The wealth which can change their lives once and for all. You can give people some money. You can donate some $1 million to some poor organization, but you have not really solved their problem. The problem is going to be there because hunger is going to be there, birth is going to be there, death is going to be there, old age is, no matter you build the best hospital, all these problems are going to be there. So the real welfare, the real charity, the real mercy you can give people is to distribute this transcendental message of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna even tells what is the peace formula. All of us are hankering for peace. The world is in such a crazy state now. All political leaders are going insane because they do not have the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surida Sarvadehinam. This is the formula for peace. Simple formula. You accept that Krishna is the real enjoyer. Krishna is the controller of the entire creation. And Krishna is the real friend of everybody. With this formula, everything gets solved. Because I won't see your interests as separate that much. I may be black, I may be white, I may be brown, I may be green, but Krishna is our common. Lowest denominator. We are common, we are all intimately related because we are all part and parcel. When people realize that, then there's no more enmity. We all become family. Lord Chaitanya said, how am I going to distribute all this by myself? You all have to help me. This tree is producing so many fruits. I'm incapable of distributing this myself. Of course, Lord Chaitanya can do any once, but he's telling us, all of us have to become part of this distribution network. Just like when Lord Rama was building the bridge, everybody was helping him. It's not that Lord Rama couldn't build the bridge himself. He wanted to give everybody the opportunity to serve it. So we have to take this opportunity. Prabhupada said this movement is going to go on whether you like it or not. Whether you want to be part of it or not, this movement will go on. But if you do some service to spread this movement, you will get this credit. You will be eternally recognized by Krishna. So it is in our own interest to help distribution of the books. So you all heard about Gita Mahatma. It's a very wonderful work. Prabhupada refers to the Gita Mahatma in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita in the Padma Purana, it is stated the 18 verses, Lord Shiva speaks about the glories of every single verse, every single chapter. Okay, so then there's also the big Gita Mahatma, the few works called Gita Mahatma. Some people are saying is from Shankaracharya, but actually the Gita Mahatma was even the Padma Purana, but the Gita Dhyanam is the work of Shankaracharya. But the Gita Mahatma, let me read the 7 verses of the where's that 7 verses? Gita Shastram idam punyam yapate prayatta puman Vishnu padam abapnoti bayashokati varjita. One who with a regulated mind recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. Gita dhyana silasya pranayama parasya cha naiva santi hi papani purva janma kritani cha. One reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. So if you love somebody, you give them the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita shouldn't only be just recited, it should be understood. Therefore, Prabhupada wrote the commentary. Sometimes we just recite the Bhagavad Gita on Gita Jayanti and go on with our lives. No, the Bhagavad Gita should be recited and should be understood and should be contemplated. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamrita snanam sangsara malanasanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of the Bhagavad Gita, so the Bhagavad Gita is compared to the sacred Ganges water. For him, the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita sugita kartavya kim anye shastra vishtare ya swayam padmanabhasya mukapatma vinitstra. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read the Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnu Vaktrar Vinirstram Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate. By drinking the Ganges water of the Gita, the divine quintessence of the Mahabharata emanating from the holy lotus mouth of Lord Vishnu, one will never take rebirth in the material world again. In other words, by devotionally reciting the Gita, the cycle of birth and death is terminated. Sarvopanishado gavo dhogda gopala nandana partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dhuktam gita amritam hat. All the Upanishads. Now Gita, the Bhagavad Gita is also an Upanishad, therefore it is called Gita Upanishad. Like Isho Upanishad, the Gita Upanishad is there. All the Upanishads are like a cow. All right? And the milker of the cow is Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the calf. Partha, Vatsa. The beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk. So the milk which Krishna is milking from the cow of the Upanishads, specifically the Gita Upanishad, is the milk. Arjuna is the calf. Krishna is the cowherd boy milking. And the fortunate devotees of the fine theistic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. So normally, I don't know if you all have raised cows before. When a cow gives birth, it gives milk to the calf, but there's still much more milk is left. That is milk to be drunk by everybody else. So we are those devotees. And this cow will give unlimited milk. So the whole world can become devotees and we can drink and still the milk will not be exhausted. Ekam shastram devaki putra geetam eko deva devaki putra eva eko mantrastasya namani yani karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. There need only be one holy scripture, the divine Gita, sung by Lord Krishna. Only one worshipable Lord Krishna. Only one mantra, his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And only one duty, the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So simple message. So this is the Gita Mahatma. Those of you who haven't got a copy of the Gita Mahatma, you should purchase it online, probably able to get it. May not have the same cover. Lord Shiva is instructing Parvati in this. So please help the Austin devotional community distribute these books by sponsoring these books and personally giving these books to people you know, mailing these books to people you know, or sponsoring. If you cannot have time, you can tell the devotees, okay, I'm going to sponsor $125 one case. You please distribute it on my behalf. All this will be recognized by Krishna. It will please Prabhupada tremendously. There was no other activity more pleasing to Srila Prabhupada than the distribution of his books, because that can solve the real problems. I can go and give class here, I can go and give class there, but people often will forget and go on with their lives. But if you give them a Bhagavad Gita, they will have it with them. One day they may open and start reading and their lives will be changed. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions, any comments? Please help this distribution of books. It's a very important, very pivotal thing from our society. And don't only just give it to Indians. People thinking, oh, what will I do? What will that guy tell me? He's not an Indian if I give him Bhagavad Gita. No, the Bhagavad Gita touches the soul. It's got nothing to do with the externals. Okay? Hare Krishna, questions, comments, corrections? Yes, Radha Damodar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danda Pranam, Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you mentioned earlier about a particular dilemma, that is, we have so many things to do, Ekadashi, we have that service, this service, and so many other services, and our Guru wanted something else. And you concluded that whatever Krishna simply wants is what we need to go through. It's one of the challenges we often face. So how do we actually know what should be?
Good point. So sometimes we are doing so many service and sometimes we don't prioritize our service. All this may be service, agreed. But also there are some services where it is more important than others, because a temple, let's say a temple president, if he is so busy and he cannot engage the people in the congregation properly, he's not really doing his service. He may say, that the toilet needs to be cleaned, so he personally go and cleans. But because he's cleaning the toilet, he may not be able to support the book distribution, or he may not be able to work on a very important project. So the role of a temple president or a temple manager is to delegate duties so that the service of Krishna is increased. So let's say you may have many things, so you have to consult with people who you trust, people who care for you, people who are senior, people who've gone through, and say, if your Guru Maharaj is not with you, you can consult with those devotees who you feel they are my well-wishers. I have this dilemma, I've got so many things to do. How could I prioritize? What is more important, you think? What is not so important? So that's how you come to a conclusion.
It's kind of like that. So let me wear my shoes and be back.
Okay, so we have to, that's how we find how to prioritize our service. And people, or the temple president may tell you, or somebody may tell you, oh, chanting your rounds is not very important. You have to do this service. But you have taken a commitment also to chant your rounds. Okay, but ultimately the underlying principle is anything which is pleasing to Krishna. That is what we have to do. You may be a very good kirtaniya, you may be a very good this and that, but Krishna says that is not very important for you. That's how you find it, through the consultation of devotees, the consultation with your spiritual master. It doesn't mean you disobey your temple authority. It's not. Typically, the Guru Maharaj, your Guru Maharaj will work in such a way that his instructions are not incongruent with what the temple management. If you're part of a temple community and you got some important service, of course, you have become his disciple, but ISKCON is unique in the sense we don't have a single acharya like what Srila Prabhupada. We have many spiritual masters. At the same time, the devotees have to work within a community of devotees. So we have to be conscious of that. If your spiritual master tells you to do something, you can tell Guru Maharaj, I have this service in the temple. How do you think I should go about doing this service you are requesting me to do? Then your Guru Maharaj say, oh, I did not know that you had that service. Then he can come and say, he'll consult, he may talk to your temple management and say, this is a very important service for my disciple, I need him to help me. In that kind of dialogue, everything can be worked out. Okay, so these are all very practical matters. Okay, it has to be also done very practically. Prabhupada was very practical. Like you all have seen in Mayapur, there's a famous incident. One devotee was telling Prabhupada, I want to stay in Mayapur and do service. Prabhupada said, you are a sannyasi. Sannyasi's business is to travel and preach. You leave tomorrow or whatever. Prabhupada said, you go and preach. But another sannyasi was beside Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I want to go and preach. Prabhupada said, no, your service is to stay in Mayapur and help this construction. Both were sannyasis. So everybody's service is different. Okay, so it takes an expert devotee to recognize that. All right?
Thank you.
But all of you have to be very keen to distribute this message. Don't be just satisfied that I've received this message. If you don't give, you will not receive. And if you don't give, you will also lose what you have received. I can bet you.
Oh my God.
Because if you receive spiritual knowledge and you don't give, because that means you will lose your realization. Only by giving, you will have realization in spiritual life. Just like even in material subjects, as you teach the material subject again and again, you become more expert at it. Because in order to teach, in order to give, you have to become good at what you're doing. So you have to give. And our Lord Chaitanya's movement is all about giving, not taking. Because when you give, you automatically receive. Lord Nityananda was all about giving Mahaprabhu's mercy to everybody. No matter what kind of situation it is, we have to give Mahaprabhu's teaching. That's the only solution which can solve the problems of every living entity. So we are a evangelic movement. We are not a bhajananandi movement, sitting at home and chanting Hare Krishna and be self-satisfied. No. Okay, we have to do para upakar. Even when you're not perfect, you can do para upakar. Because the process of doing para upakar will make you perfect. Yeah, you all have seen in ISKCON in the early days who was perfect. But because they were following the perfect spiritual master, even though they were imperfect, they were following Prabhupada's perfect instruction and distributing this knowledge. By that act alone, by the fire of Sankirtan, all their bad qualities got burnt. All the anarthas got burnt and they became such wonderful devotees. So this fire of Sankirtan is what which really burns all our bad qualities and makes us into fine devotees. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Do we have more time or we have to stop it now?
We have like 5 minutes. We can take a couple of questions. If anyone have any questions, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Please raise your hand and ask if you have any question or if you have a comment or want to share, or you can post in chat window as well.
Prabhu, there is a question in the temple.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, that was a wonderful class. My question is, again, going back to the dilemma that you were talking about. So where do you draw a line where, say, as a parent, you have responsibility towards your children, but at some point, it also makes you think that I am doing something for them, where it might make you think that I am the doer, which is not right. Then how do you get out of that?
We should see that everything in our life is Krishna's mercy. The morning you wake up, the fact that you woke up alive is Krishna's mercy. The fact that your heart is beating is Krishna's mercy. The fact that I'm breathing is Krishna's mercy. Because there are people who go to sleep and never wake up the next day. There are people who go to sleep at night and wake up paralyzed. You may have a stroke while they sleep. So in that mood, we should see that the ability I have, the wealth I have, the knowledge I have, everything is Krishna's mercy. The children I have is also Krishna's mercy. So we should never neglect our children. But at the same time, we often become so caught up in doing things around and say that actually I am now the doer. But we should always say, Krishna, when you have this mentality, Krishna, every day you pray to Krishna, Krishna, whatever I have, whatever good quality I have is by your mercy. Whatever bad quality I have is because of my karma. So whatever you have given me is also your mercy, Krishna. Whatever you also have taken away from me is also your mercy. When you get into such a meditative mood, then you can see things in perspective. Like, during the Bombay temple struggle, my spiritual master went to, every day he had to go to the Indian court, deal with all the lawyers, and it was such a horrible experience. So he came and told Srila Prabhupada, how am I going to do this? I don't even have time to chant rounds. He says, very good that Krishna has given you so much service. You should be so pleased that Krishna, so grateful that Krishna has given you so much service, that you don't even have time to think about Maya. So of course, we have to find balance in our life. You all are not sannyasis. You have to find the right balance where you shouldn't get too comfortable with your life. At the same time, you shouldn't stretch yourself. It becomes what is called ati ahar, too much endeavor. Sometimes even devotional activities, when you endeavor too much against your ability, too much beyond your ability, it can break you. It can make you feel offensive towards certain devotees, even towards your own spiritual master. So we also have to know our limits, but we should always try to slowly push our limits. That's the only way we can grow. Okay, but everything you should daily thank your spiritual master and Krishna for giving you whatever you have. And there will always be discomfort in this world, because the nature of this world is to make us uncomfortable. And through this discomfort, we should see it as Krishna's arrangement for us to grow into better devotees. That's how we should see difficulties as. Okay, hope that has answered your question. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, that answered.
Any other questions, comments? I'm glad all of you all are taking so much interest in Austin. Please cooperate. Cooperation is very important. Sankirtan means cooperation. We are not just doing kirtan, we're doing sankirtan. That means collectively, cooperatively, we're doing kirtan for Krishna. So we don't cooperate, it cannot be done. It will not be pleasing to Mahaprabhu. So cooperation is something we have to continuously work on. Let us not have envy for other devotees. We don't know what devotees are personally going through challenges in their life. Don't become too judgmental toward devotees. Work cooperatively, just like a family. In a family, somebody may contribute more, somebody may contribute less. That doesn't mean you kick out some member of the family. You still accept them as your family. And with this mood, very cooperatively, affectionately, when you work together and see everybody as part of your family, at least this congregation, even if you cannot see the world as your family, at least see this congregation as your family. Don't have different groupism, don't have factions within this. It is not going to help. When you work together cooperatively, then you will see that Krishna will really bless this community. Krishna, Mahaprabhu will really bestow his mercy. Prabhupada will really bestow his mercy. Okay?
Prabhu, one quick question, like bit of like this COVID and all, how your community is distributing the books? Like, can you give
You
one?
can buy books and mail to your friends. That's what we used to in Dallas, even long no COVID. Let's say, tell people you sponsor some books, at least mail 10 of those books or 5 of those books to your friend.
Okay.
So they sponsor the books, they purchase, and they say, oh, I know such and such in Detroit, I know such and such in works in San Diego, I know such and such in Houston. It'll be so nice if they give the Bhagavad Gita, and write a very affectionate note for them and send this Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure you can mail 5 Bhagavad Gitas to people you know. Right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. All right?
Yes. And also you are doing door-to-door, Prabhu, like community.
Door to door is very good, but with the COVID situation, you got to exercise caution. We also have to be practical.
Yes.
And also, as devotees, we have to be conscious with that we don't want to go to very dangerous areas.
Yes.
Okay? We used to, of course, distribute books in traffic lights and all, even in very cold winter. That's all is welcome. But you also have to be careful that you don't go into like bad neighborhoods, take undue, Prabhupada say you should take risk, but you shouldn't take risk beyond your capacity.
Rasikendra Prabhu, Satyarupa Gauranga Prabhu is our Sankirtan leader.
Wow, Hare Krishna, Satyarupa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
You Satyasara Prabhu is there, Satyarupa Prabhu is there. So Satyarupa Prabhu, you should become the general of book distribution in Austin.
Yes,
May Krishna bless you with unlimited ability to distribute Prabhupada's books.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you for your blessings, Prabhu.
And please, all of you, help Satyarupa Prabhu distribute Prabhupada's books. A general is only as good as the army behind him. If the army were to quit, what can the general do? Right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay?
That's true. And Prabhu, like I'm requesting Radha Damodar Prabhu to give a quick thank you note.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What a wonderful class, Prabhuji. We would like to hear your classes more and more. When the topic was glorification of Bhagavad Gita, I was wondering what you're going to talk about. Are you going to cover the entire Bhagavad Gita? No, but you give the essence of Bhagavad Gita and the glories of Bhagavad Gita from Gita Mahatma and how it is being described in detail. And Bhagavad Gita is compared to the sacred waters of Ganges. That itself is giving the importance of Bhagavad Gita. And all those, the message is that Bhagavad Gita is going to solve everyone's problem. And we have so many problems in our life. And we started with various problems, and all the problems are actually addressed once we surrender to Krishna. So When Arjuna surrendered, Krishna helped, and same way we all surrender, we all will be benefited. All our problems will be resolved. Thank you for giving us this wonderful message. Hare
Thank you all so much for listening so patiently. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity. I'm very enthused whenever I speak to the Austin congregation. Please cooperate among yourselves, and Mahaprabhu will bless you all unlimitedly. And please also extend this knowledge to all races. Prabhupada came here to give to, not to give to Indians, but he came to give to the Westerners. Now the Indians have received it. So our role, our duty, our obligation is to give it to all races, all ethnicities. Okay. And we should make the Austin congregation, Austin temple very conducive for other people who are not Indians to also come there and feel comfortable. We shouldn't make it look like an Indian community, because we already primarily Indians there. We shouldn't make it harder for Indians. Oh, this is an Indian place. We shouldn't do it. We should be very non-sectarian in the sense that we shouldn't say, oh, I will only invite my Indian friends. What if other people come? And we should also behave in the temple in such a way that we shouldn't give an image that this is an Indian place. We should try to transcend this bodily designation. Even though it's hard, it can be done. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Rasikendra Prabhu.
Thank you all so much. It was such a pleasure addressing all of you all. May Krishna bless all of you. May Srila Prabhupada, Mahaprabhu's mercy, and your Guru Maharajas, you all may have different respective. May all of them bless all of you to spread this movement, to push on this movement. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Thank you, Rasikendra Prabhu,
Hare
for
Krishna.
your
Thank you.
and
Hare.
suggestions. Hare Krishna. Next part of our program is like Kirtan. Aarti Kirtan going to be sung by Neha Mataji. Please pin the temple window. And today Pujari services by Pushpanjali Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namini Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namini Namo Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini Namo Swati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Shesha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Guru Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. शिलतन का न खा ले आए ए तो नरसिम्हो पर तो नरसिम्हो यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिम्हो बाहे नरसिम्हो हृदये नरसिम्हो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमल वरे नाखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनु भृंगा तव रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमल वरे नाथा अद्भुत श्रृंगार हिरण्यकशिपु तनु भृंगाम केशवधृता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल